Welcome to another edition of Just Cook It here at heraldstandard.com, and it's February. And February is actually National Hot Breakfast Month, so I figured that we would celebrate by making one of my favorite hot breakfasts, pancakes. Now I have a fantastic pancake recipe, and we're going to make some condiments for it and turn it into a big dish. It's going to be a lot of fun. So the first thing we're going to do for our pancakes is we're going to make a blood orange and raspberry compote. Okay, so blood oranges and raspberries go really well together, and it's a really simple process. So what we're going to do is we're going to start in a small sauce pot. I've got some raspberries, okay, about a half a cup, just fresh raspberries. Some raspberry preserves. You can buy these at the local supermarket. Okay, nothing crazy there. We're just going to add those together. And then here I have 2 blood oranges, which I segmented. You peeled them, segmented them, and then squeezed the excess juice back over top of them. So we're going to add all that together. Okay. And then I have a little hit of vanilla extract, pure, the good stuff. And then we're just going to take this to the stove. Put it on about medium-low. Alright, so step 2, now that we got our compote going, we're going to make a whipped ricotta for the center of the pancakes. So we're actually going to build almost like a cake. It's going to have layers. It's going to be the pancakes, whipped ricotta in between, and then the compote and some maple syrup drizzled on top. So what we have here is some ricotta cheese, and to that we're going to add a little bit of buttermilk and some powdered sugar. Okay? And then we're going to take our mixer here. Start on low speed because we don't want it to fly everywhere. So now it's time to actually make our pancakes. So we got our ricotta in the cooler, we got our compote, which is about finished, and now to make our pancakes, I have 2 cups of cake flour. Okay, very important to use cake flour because less gluten, and it keeps them nice and tender and soft. To that I'm going to add some baking soda and baking powder. Okay, and we're just going to sift this right into our bowl. We want to sift it so we get out any lumps, and it also lightens it up. Now that we have our flour and our baking soda and our baking powder sifted, I'm going to add a little bit of salt and some sugar to our dry ingredients. And we're just going to give this a real quick stir. Not enough to clump it up again, but just enough to incorporate all the dry ingredients together. Okay, so once that happens, we're going to set that aside. We're going to move to our liquid ingredients. Here I've got 3 cups of buttermilk, 2 egg yolks, okay? Now we're going to use the whole eggs. In this bowl here, I have the egg whites, okay? And there's a reason it's in this steel bowl. And here I have 4 tablespoons of melted butter. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add our egg yolks, yolks only, right into our buttermilk. Okay? And then we are going to take our egg whites and using this whisk. Now you can just by hand if you're Popeye and you have huge forearms, or you can use a mixer, and we're just going to froth these up until they hit about medium to stiff peaks. And this is where a lot of the airiness is going to come from in our pancakes. Okay, so you can see our egg whites are nice and frothed. Okay, that's what they should look like. And the reason we use the steel bowl is because it holds, it stays colder better and longer. So when you're doing egg whites, it's easier if they're cold as opposed to the glass. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our liquid ingredients. Again, we have our egg yolks in with our buttermilk. I'm going to use our whisk again and just give it a nice on low speed. Just kind of put it together. And then while this is mixing, we're going to add our melted butter. Get it all incorporated, and then now put it all together. We're going to go back to our dry ingredients. Here's the real key part to this: getting this all together so that it all comes together nicely, and you end up with really soft, fluffy pancakes. We're going to take our liquid portion, okay, our liquid ingredients, dump them right into our dry ingredients. Okay, again, this is the buttermilk, egg yolks, and butter. We're dumping it into our flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, and sugar. Okay, so we'll get all that in there. And then we're just going to kind of fold it. We're not going to really agitate it too much, because again, even though we're using cake flour, so there's less gluten, we don't want to develop any of the little gluten that's in there, or not a lot of it anyway, because we don't want them to be tougher. We're going to take our egg whites that we frothed, and we're going to add these right into our batter, like such, like little clouds. Okay, right on top, don't stir them too much. And again, when we incorporate these, the technique, we're just going to fold. If there's little, see, we just come up from under and over, and we fold them together. And that's what your batter should look like, okay? That's perfect pancake batter right there. So now, let's go over to the stove and cook some. Always use a nice non-stick pan, and I like to use a smaller one and go one at a time just because it makes it easier. Right into the center, it'll pull itself into a nice shape. And then when you start to see bubbles come through from the bottom, you know it's done. And that's when you flip. So like I said, it's almost like a cake. You got those layers, and you've got the cream in between. Now we're going to take our compote. Here's our blood orange and raspberry compote. Okay, we're going to take a nice piece of this. Actually, we'll just dollop it. Why not? Nice dollop on the very top. And then we're going to take some fresh mint that I have, a few leaves, and I'm going to chiffonade this, which means I'm just going to cut it into really tiny strips. Okay, we'll go with this right on top of here. And then, finally, the last step, take some good old pure maple syrup. And we'll just drizzle it right over the top like such. Those are perfect pancakes. Pancakes of champions, if you ask me. Thank you very much for watching this February edition of Pancakes right here at heraldstandard.com. And don't forget to check out my other columns. Every other Friday is my For Starters column in Go Magazine, and every Thursday I have my Just Cook It column right in the Herald Standard and right here on heraldstandard.com. Enjoy the pancakes, try them out, and we'll talk to you in March.